Absolutely.
I printed it out and I left it in the front.
I know how that goes. Yes, there's the agenda. Right. Well, and then I heard from John that he wasn't gonna make it tonight. I did not hear from Richard Warren. So we'll see.
Yeah.
They told all the men to stay away tonight?
No,
Oh.
no, they're just, they're not as good about, RSVPing.
Yeah.
But they,
You all the time, so you know.
yes, yeah, and you even said something, so yeah.
I did?
Yeah,
I thought we just talked about it.
okay, so
We do.
anyway, I will call the meeting to order at 7:31. And the first thing we have is to approve the extensive minutes prepared for us by Amy, for the June 24th meeting. I will take a motion to approve as submitted. Okay, do I have a second?
Thank you.
Be a seconding, okay, all in favor, okay, and we do have a quorum. It's like, I like, look around and go, yes. Okay, so then I have our call for additions or changes to the agenda. Amy, you said anything about trees, I didn't know if that would fall under, my new business number 12 about that, discussing that article on the agenda.
Yeah, I think Terry had the note of trees. I had a note about the sidewalk.
Oh, sidewalks.
Yeah,
Which I started, it comes into me as a new issue this time.
yeah. Fair.
Where I thought it was all true.
Yeah.
So,
So,
But yeah, I mean, I guess I would say the difference is it's the bicycle and pedestrian committee's master plan was kind
Right.
of the spark was
right,
it last meeting or it was in between meetings? I can't remember, but it's kind of like
oh, yes, that's true.
there is
They
the
kind of-
the tree Venn diagram, but it
Okay.
is
So we'll make that, item, we'll discuss that before the, because we'll call that 12 and we'll turn, discussing the article into number 13, so.
yeah.
You're right, that we should discuss that.
Yeah. And then because the tree thing was also part of the NRI discussion.
Yes, but that's on here, so, and part of that's what needs to be, so, okay. So, hi, public. Any comments?
So the last time I was here, I was talking about wildlife, like corridors and then you said causeways and greenways. So I don't want to comment now in case there's a time later.
No,
So
public comment is.
Oh,
now.
that's right now.
Yep.
Okay,
So
so,
bring it up and we can fold it in.
yeah, so I'm not sure how all this works with other communities and how like you're connected with the land trust and so on and so forth. So, I spoke with a friend of mine in New Hampshire who's a former science teacher and is like totally involved with everything about land trust.
excuse me, may I ask your name?
Laurian, Laurian. Semino, Ciano. And client. And so, and actually a friend of mine here, mentioned that, the electrical power grids, are a natural causeway north and south and east and west for animals, for wildlife, especially with climate change, to go to different states, maybe north if they need to, for whatever reason. So I looked into easements. There's things about statutes I'm not familiar with, and the idea that an individual, a resident, can declare a part of their property as a conservation easement, and they can get, donations, property tax, possible tax benefits. And even when they sell it, they can possibly get federal tax benefits. But there's a lot back and forth. There's so much to it.
Yes.
There's
As a
so
matter
much
of fact, my husband has a book that's about that, public easement, to creating conservation easements, as an environmental attorney. So, yeah.
So I don't know where that lands here as far as, you know, the committee and the town, you know, how all that.
Great, yes. Educating the public it would be an interesting twist. In terms of the town at the moment, it lies in, we do have, tax abatement programs for, forest owners, for farm owners, and for general conservation owners. There are limits on how, there are, minimum sizes of the property, there are minimum use, there are laid out specific uses of the property. And it does get them, abatements on their taxes, in town. I don't know that anybody has actually tried to get into that program lately.
Well, I guess the
So, yeah.
whole idea is that they, you know, comes down to money talks, you know, if you're gonna sell it and get more for, and unless, you know, donating it to a land trust. I mean, I guess that's the whole thing, to the wealth of the land and wanting to preserve, you know, in perpetuity.
We have worked with the land trust in town and they have had a very active land acquisition program and, they work extensively with the private homeowners. That's how we got Reddick Reserve, that's how we got, the property that's on the corner of Green Hill and the Hammonasset River, several others that they have worked very closely and then gotten state grants to help purchase. So, our land trust a major resource in conservation for the town.
And I guess that's my thought is that I can get a resident. I mean, some of the properties are postage stamps and the houses are huge, so there really isn't much property to talk about.
No.
So I just, is this, you know, a foregone conclusion that this might not ever be something that could really happen in this town as far as people, you know, really actively making a part of their property so that wildlife isn't necessarily like going into their back door, that maybe is in the backyard or whatever for their own migratory needs and food and shelter and water.
There are a bunch of programs that we could definitely start, promoting in town. The Wildlife Habitat Improvement Project, which is, you can get, and there's pollinator pathways, since there are a variety of, and Bird through Audubon. There are a variety of programs which encourage homeowners to put a certain number of ecological features into their backyard. Make sure for birds, for instance, make sure you have a water resource, make sure you have a hiding, basically like a brush pile, someplace that they can use for habitat and protection. Make sure that you have natural food sources, not just bird feeders or bird feeders. So and there's 3 or 4 others on there. But so there are programs like that which people can get involved in. There's also the Connecticut Pollinator Pathway Program where people can submit to the state and become part of a map that they have provided all of this in their yard for pollinator purposes. And it's the wildlife one. We have done not specifically in town, but when I used to do presentations for the University of Connecticut, we did talk about the fact that if a group of neighbors worked together, they could create greenways in their backyards. Okay. And the pictures that were used were from, you want to talk about big houses on small lots. Unless if you got a strip of 8 or 10 neighbors on Susan, all they had to do was take 20 feet in their backyard and they were natural and they ended up 40-foot thing that could go right through the town. It's a really interesting idea.
So if I'm to help in any way, what do you think is the best course of action?
Well, I would say I would start looking for, the state also has something called a backyard wildlife habitat book. Give me your text. I'd send you a picture. I know I have it. It is sitting on my
203-921-6341.
1, 2, 1.
It's not going in the minutes.
4, 1. Okay. It's a publication that was put together by Peter Baton. Couple decades ago, but nothing's changed in terms of what the plants and animals need.
Could we I had some suggestions also. It seems like, you're interested in wondering like how you could work toward building more momentum in Madison for this. Is that, or,
Well, you know, I mean, I'm a resident of Madison, so I guess that's the only thing I'm thinking of at this moment. It doesn't mean that there isn't something that can be done on a wider scale from the state of Connecticut. You know, I'm not sure exactly how this will unfold.
right?
Okay. Hi, can we help you?
Apologize, is this the meeting for like Valley
Conservation.
Park?
Our park is actually at the park.
I checked that and I went to the.
It's been canceled.
Oh.
I was running so fast. I apologize for interrupting you.
No problem. No, no problem. Oh, I myself went
That's
tried to go
happened
to
to
a
me.
meeting last week that had been canceled,
Yeah.
so.
This is the Conservation
Commission,
If
you
you're
can hang out.
adjacent.
Come learn.
I didn't understand, they didn't get the agenda in time, so they couldn't hold meeting.
Oh, got it. Okay. I just one quick question. I know you guys were making it sounded like very key important points. By any chance, do you guys know when the meeting will be readjusted to?
Probably August.
But you know what? Just look on the town website.
Yeah,
It'll say when the next meeting will happen.
yeah.
So you can call the town clerk,
Yeah.
maybe town clerk knows. Sorry.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for listening. How's college been?
Thank you. That was nice.
Oh,
So,
Been having a fun summer and I apologize for.
no problem at all. Is there
Okay,
something that we
guys.
can talk about? Okay,
Sorry.
Bye. Bye.
so Lori, I'm just trying to figure out what kind of.
Actual things we
yeah.
can do.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't want us to just talk around it, but
Yeah.
if there's something we can do as a commission, or maybe point you to a different
Well,
committee.
I feel like this kind of dovetails with what we started talking about last time, which is
Mhm.
everyone like, let's start aggregating all
The
this
sources.
information. And then we'll have it on the website and ideally we'll start compiling a book for residents, whether they're new or existing. It's like, I'm interested in this. Where's a logical place to go? The Conservation Commission, we have that information for them.
So my first thought is realtors.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, that's like the first thing, you know, when
Right.
somebody wants to come and buy something here, you know, for realtors to be aware that, you know, wildlife is so intricately in our ecosystem.
Yeah.
And I just, you know, we all know that, you know, roads and railroads and, you know, these things are causing a lot of difficulty. And I don't know how we can build a green bridge, let's say, over 95 in order to get deal and whatever to cross that. I mean, that's nonsense. It seems like, that seems like an enormous thing for, you know, the underpass and the overpass. So, you know, what's the next thing? Well, through their yards. You know, and food.
No, this is an excellent point though about realtors because
Yeah.
for the last year and a half to 2 years, and I notified all of you and Al and the tree committee about the 16 acres. On Green Hill, that's the Land Conservation Trust and State Forest. And it's up for sale, and I understand from my friend, although he won't give me all the details. Because he and his brother want to sell it for top dollar. So they have a developer who wants to buy it and will plans to sell the house and ponds separately. I don't know how many acres that is, but it's only a few acres. And the rest of it that goes down a deep slope and is, you know, a big
The button
meadow
trails.
that's surrounded by the woods that are
Yep.
the state forest. That he's gonna try to get permission to build on. And that's a perfect example.
Oh, I now know exactly which property you mean.
It has two for
Oh,
sale.
my husband would love to buy
One
it.
says land, and that
Yes.
was a gotcha
Yes.
for a developer, right?
Uh-huh.
And the other one is the house, but they're selling it all together for just under 2 million. they do have a developer, and I suspect this developer, because I just talked to my friend yesterday morning, and he said, there are a few snafus and they're hiring an engineer.
Yeah, that's better.
Well, but if they do, that tells me they're gonna try to worm their way into planning and zoning with that engineer saying, yeah, well, yeah, we can do all this, but that land is just so perfect as a buffer.
How do we do this? How can we get that land?
Mm-hmm.
Or just protect
Two
it,
million.
simply protect it, right?
I practically begged my friend.
I mean, is this something?
Rick,
Yeah.
sell the
Can
house.
we
Planning and zoning. I mean, Carol,
Can we-
I know we're kind of jumping the conversation, but is that something we can recommend is like when there is private land abutting town or state land that it has some.
Madison used to have a land acquisition committee. They never became a commission.
Long time.
Yes, a long time ago. And it was they had there were a variety of conflicts of both personality and interest in the membership. But they were putting together a series of standards, and the Conservation Commission actually has developed 18 years ago, a land assessment questionnaire, which talks about what does it have on it in terms of and what is it adjacent to talk about what are things that the town or somebody should
Mhm.
I will haul that out.
This is prime what you're talking.
Yeah, and that would be a corridor, exactly.
Well, I guess the question is, how did those individuals acquire the property to begin with? Isn't anything in your town? I mean, obviously, we all know the story about Bauer Park, they give it for $1 or whatever, but isn't all of this wild land?
It's all owned by
It's
somebody.
all owned by somebody.
It's all owned by somebody. There's
Yeah.
nothing in town that is unplaned. There are vacant lands. There are vacant lands which currently get tax abatements for being vacant, but everything in town is zoned everything in town is zoned for development. There's nothing we don't have anything that says this is a protection area, prohibited area.
I don't know how much longer you want to stay on citizen comments.
Yeah.
The Land Trust, the Madison Conservation Land Trust, has a conscious policy trying to develop linear trails. We call them wildlife corridors. We are tending to focus on the rivers, land parallel to the rivers. We can create not only a trail, but a wildlife passageway. And so piece by piece, the Land Trust is trying to assemble linear trails.
Yeah.
It speaks to what you're inquiring about. I think one of the complications in Madison and the realtors probably advise most homeowners against granting an easement is because of the minimum lot sizes in Madison, which is 1 acre zoning or 2 acre zoning, a property owner, I'm getting in over my head a little bit legally here. I'm not sure how much a property owner can create an easement if there's a minimum square footage required for the building lot. And then the complication on top of that is if you have to get your neighbors to agree, and building a corridor might involve, I don't know, half a dozen or a dozen parcels, and getting that number of people to agree to it. Good luck. That doesn't mean we shouldn't try. It's very challenging to get folks to give up anything. And an easement is often perceived as giving up something. And a realtor would probably advise the homeowner, don't do something like that, because when you go to sell your home, it has an easement on it. It complicates the transaction tremendously. I don't mean to be throwing cold water on your suggestion. I guess I'm just highlighting the difficulties. The Land Trust experiences this all the time as we try to put parcels together. The Land Trust currently controls about 2,000 acres in Madison. I believe Madison, help me, Heather, is about 35,000 acres.
Yeah, we're actually one of the better protect between the land trust and the water company, we're one of the better protected,
Yeah.
towns in the
When
state.
you look at a map of Madison, the land that's not developed, and it's mostly up north, it's about a third of the town, and it's mostly owned by Connecticut Regional Water Authority. I don't have that name right. It's the Connecticut, South Central Connecticut.
South
Regional
Central
Water
Connecticut
Authority.
Regional Water.
They have a plan to sell off parcels piece by piece. I think the list is public. They tend to be very small parcels, 8 or 10 acres. Many of them are not developable in the sense they're wet. And so both the land trust and the town, as we look at, as the water company wants to sell off these parcels, nobody wants it. They're not buildable, so developers aren't interested. The Board of Selectmen reasons, why should we spend taxpayer dollars on land that can't be developed?
Exactly.
And the land trust pretty much comes to the same conclusion. The land trust said, let's devote our resources towards creating these corridors, not just acquiring various blocks of land that aren't contiguous to each other. And so I think over the course of the next coming decades, while the water company will be selling off or trying to sell off parcels, I just don't think there's a market for these parcels. As I understand from the zoning commission, this will be my last point. 95% of parcels that can be developed in Madison already are. There's relatively little acreage left for either residential or commercial development. I hate to use the term built out because we live in such a heavily forested town, but we're pretty much built out unless planning and zoning changes their requirements. Most of northern Madison is 2 acres. If in their wisdom, planning and zoning commission changed that to 1 acre zoning, then perhaps there would be more parcels available for development. But that's dependent on wells and sewage systems, and I don't see the planning and zoning commission suddenly rezoning this town. I just don't think it's likely to happen. So I'm sorry, I pointed out all of the reasons why this hasn't happened so far, which you're suggesting, and I'm afraid all of those dynamics are still in place. It doesn't mean that we couldn't look at whether there are some incentives town government could develop regarding easements. But I think our best hope at this point is to recognize town government is not in the land acquisition business. The land trust is the land acquisition business. They've got very fussy as to what parcels we go after. Which is, I'm sorry, I'm taking this all the way around. There's lots of good reasons why these ideas haven't fertilized. They haven't taken hold. And I think in perhaps towns where there's far less development, far more open land can be developed. I think these ideas are probably more likely to take hold.
With the facilities committee evaluating the different buildings and parcels of land that the town owns, is there a move or a suggestion to sell some of those parcels of land,
Well,
especially with the pressure coming down from the state to build middle housing?
yeah. I think just for everybody's benefit, Terry is referring to something we call the facility study, which just presented to the selectmen night before last. The whole 200-page document is online. It's called Facilities Master Plan, something like that. It looks at all of the town assets, both buildings and the land that's owned by the town. And while the town owns like 8 parcels of land. They're going to be very small. They tend to be scattered. And whether they can be developed is questionable. I can see some taxpayers saying, let's sell it off. Maybe some of them have a market value, but they don't lend themselves to vision you have in mind. They're not sort of connected. It just splotches all over town. They're laid out on a map. Just no rhyme or reason to them. They just kind of scatter all over. There are a few large parcels that were identified. One's on Ridge Road. I think it's 99 acres. One's between Legendville and Brown School.
Is that where Ryerson is?
Yeah, don't quote me, about 40 acres in there, contiguous.
Heavy wetlands, so.
Well, there was one more person, but that's something that fit into your vision. It's the contiguous spaces. But my guess is the taxpayers.
Well, I don't know about the town, but I'm looking at this map and going, the state of Connecticut should be asked if they want to add the building parcel. It connects directly to Cockaponsett. This state parcel.
Which one?
Your opening Hill Road one.
Yep, I know.
Aquaponica is a name assigned to.
It's also-
Yeah, very partial still, but this section in here is part of
And that's
that.
state owned.
That is state owned, so.
Yeah.
So,
So you kind of have to go to like top, so to speak.
Yes.
You know, and figure all that out. So it's not like there's a loss.
no, but it's a parcel that it's worth making
Yeah.
the
No,
state
because
forestry people aware
I've
that.
been on those trails next to it.
Yeah.
Right behind those.
Those
that-
Trains are
Those
right.
are, they are, you know,
Yeah,
from Opening Hill and
Woodjet.
Squaw Lane, you can go into some of those.
Yep.
And Blindshed.
Yeah.
It's called the Blindshed Loop Trail.
yeah,
There are several
yeah,
trails.
they all go in there, but they all go in there and that would be an important place to.
So I think it'd be very helpful. Look at a map of Madison to see who owns what. And we'll see that,
And if you go to the town website, you can go, there's a if you go all the way to the bottom, there's something called the GIS, which is the Geographic Information Systems, and you can bring up a map of the town with all of it shows you where the wetlands are, it shows you where the watershed boundaries are, it'll show you all the properties and the names of who owns them.
so big properties do represent part of it.
Yes, they do.
It's a good size.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Yes, so, yeah, we've now gone half an hour, and we're not even into the agenda yet, but, quick debrief on the Strawberry Moon Festival and the 4th of July parade. Improvements they want to suggest. I thought they both went well. I wish the rain had been, had fallen in the morning instead of in the afternoon, but I think we only. And that the parade had been, 10 degrees cooler, but the breeze was lovely. Anything anybody wants to improve or change, to suggest, like,
Well, I'd like to make sure that we're actually on the list to participate.
yeah, I'm not quite sure how that happened.
We weren't on the list to participate, but we did participate.
Yeah. We,
For Strawberry Moon.
for Strawberry Moon, yeah, somebody was a little snarky, but that's okay. Well, that's assuming they have that sort of thing again, but in general, when we get to,
Tree committee was there, Mac and Trees was there, the conservation trust was there, so we should be.
we all, and, as Al and I were saying beforehand, there was some good synergy, chatting between the groups, even though there were a whole lot of individual, connected residents there.
What was the generation age? Since I wasn't there.
Oh, either people with very tiny children or retired people.
Okay.
It's a bimodal district.
Yes,
Yeah.
Okay.
Although you got the parents of the people with very tiny children, so you sort of had the three generations.
The gaps with the
Yes.
team.
Although if you went back in the evening,
Yeah.
it was much graphic.
Turned out my nephew from Indiana shows like
Wow.
he just moved into the area, so but so he was looking around. And for the 4th of July, I thought that having the hybrid pickup truck was probably better than having even on not having it on the Prius. I like being able to reuse all of our signs from the previous year. And we didn't actually run out of bookmarks.
Yeah.
There's like that many left.
They were more sparingly distributed.
Yes. But I think that that all went well. Okay. So if nobody's got any other follow-ups other than to make sure we get it on lists in advance.
Do we need to restock those? Whatever next event.
Good problem. Reorder. But before I do that, Sophia, you wanted to find the one teeny tiny
Yeah.
typo and fix it. Okay. Okay. Update, last month we had our discussion on our broad conservation policies and land use philosophy. Did we change anything based on that?
So-
I've had a very long month.
I get it. I get it.
I can't remember.
Nothing's been changed. So that's what we shared with Carol.
Right.
And her, there was nothing, no change, but she wanted to see specifically what are we doing? Who's doing
How do we
what?
plan to
How do
help
we
other people?
Yeah.
So actually, this is a good place for us to talk about that. Carol, as the chair of planning and zoning, said that the biggest thing we could do is let people know specifically how we could offer to help other commissions, which would be part of the multi-commission thing. But she thought that the idea of you were there. I shouldn't be staring at you and saying this. I should be staring at you and saying this. That she really, I said, we used to liaison between, and she's like, that would be awesome if, so, and she's, rather than it being a huge burden on somebody to say that somebody's going to two planning and zoning commissions meetings a month, or that she said, it doesn't have to be the same person every time. So,
And then
That's
we were
great.
talking about not doing it just once a year, but once a quarter.
Right.
And have the information flow up to P and Z,
yes.
not just keep it amongst ourselves. So we really don't have we'll have to establish some kind of path for that.
Yes. So, but all in all, she was very, she's like the ideas.
Yeah, yeah. So what are the next steps there? Like, how do we?
So we need to go, I guess we need to go back and flesh out that particular paragraph.
And
And,
revise it so that we can send it to these different.
well, just so we'll have it available, we can actually pass it to planning and zoning, pass it to the Board of Selectmen, and also then make, when we have the joint commissions meeting, we can.
But I think it's more than that, right?
Yeah.
It's like it's this whole, how do we ideally affect the regulations and the process, so the written regulations, but then the process within town of,
I like the way you said that. How do we affect change? Because the problem with consultation, that term makes me crazy, is that you can say, oh, yes, we consulted and then ignore.
yeah.
But how can we put our input and get responses back about
Mhm.
how, hear what they do with that info that we gave them? They would have to say they ignored it, or
Yeah.
hopefully not.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if it's something like I can work with you, but
Yeah.
I just don't know where to draw the right information, really.
Don't you have all that?
Yeah.
Um,
I'll do, great, we'll do what the Vulcan mind meld and I will transfer it all over. But yes. you know,
Yeah,
I
putting that on
need
me, I'm putting it in the to do.
I need to sit down and rework that.
Okay. All right, so we'll schedule something. And on that note, I don't want to derail the agenda, but I have a suggestion. We can talk about it now or at the end.
For land use philosophy or for conservation priorities?
Just for the commission. So I just think like, you know, more and more stuff is coming up and I think there's like more and more urgency for various projects. And I just wonder, you know, it's like we meet monthly, but I feel like we also need to be accountable like on a weekly basis of getting stuff done. So I don't know if there's like a weekly to-do list or like if we, you know, just too much to ask for, you know, activity in the weeks between meetings.
Feedback between them.
That would be very helpful.
Yeah.
I think for all of us.
Yeah. So I don't, you know, maybe, I mean, I could maybe work with Sophia, like look at the minutes and from those, it's like, okay, everyone take an action item or something.
Okay, and she is making a to-do list, so that would be,
Yeah, yeah.
and we got a little bit into that last month on with the idea of action. So, okay, so I think that's a very good idea. I can use all the accountability I can get to keep me on track. Okay, update on the NRI RFQ. That is my bad. Erin did send me the language she had. I did not successfully in the first minute find what I had for the changes that were proposed. So I couldn't tell if it was the most recent one or not. So what I'm going to do, Terry, is I'm going to send it to you because as the tree advisory committee person, you'll be the one that knows if the language is what you guys suggested.
About
For the RFQ
tree
fitting that,
inventory?
yes.
Yeah, specific to the tree inventory, yeah, because there's, as you saw today with email, essentially.
Yes,
Al Gross did get feedback from Aaron that that particular Groton Tree Initiative project, which is fantastic, that it stemmed from the initial tree inventory. So the tree inventory was there, and then they produced that map afterwards. So that map probably won't come about from the inventory, but it's something, I think it's very use.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or the,
Yeah, yes.
yeah.
But it's where, again, going back, Al Gross wants to get into the specifics about what asking for in the tree. So, and he also wants input from Fran, and Fran comes back on Sunday from Giveaway. So,
Okay, I have just forwarded you the draft RFQ that Erin forwarded me, so you could let me know. Oh, sometime tomorrow? If the wording looks like what you guys have.
we want to wait till we get Fran's input, and he will be back to Sunday. So,
Okay.
as far as that tree inventory, so.
Well, with the, all we needed in the RFQ, because what the RFQ does is allows us to bring in a consultant to then talk about the specifics. Before we put out an RFP, so what we just need for this one is
The
the
language. that
language,
you
not the specific steps. We just need the to make sure it's the language that you both. Okay. I just forwarded.
It just got
email. Okay, but if the sooner we can say that that language is acceptable, as a starting point, she will send it out and, you know, I've already backed this up 30 days and I apologize for that. But sooner, also the sooner we can then make sure that we can ask the Board of Finance, the Board of Selectmen to save some of the planning money.
Yeah, I understand the tree advisory committee is all over this and wants to definitely have in there what we'd like to see for the EU request.
Yeah.
For information. But asking for Alrose's input, quite a while, don't know that we can do that. Because
I just wanted to know that it said the same thing, that it was the version that you guys had corrected 3 months ago.
yeah.
Okay. That's all I wanted to
Should be
know.
able to do. Okay.
I saw his letter and I'm like, yeah, that looked, I already see that looked awesome, but all I want right now is the first, that like 2 sentences, make sure those 2 sentences got it.
Okay.
Okay. So this is where I was gonna talk about Carol's now, the update to the revision of Madison zoning regulations and the conservation commission input. Carol, she was, enthusiastic about the idea of us having input. She said that they are really just starting the process now because they got, sideswiped by that new state statute that required them to put a whole new set of a new regulation into the town ordinances, which we had commented on.
Middle housing one?
The middle housing one, yes. But she says that they, that's where also she said that our, laying out our priorities really for the town becomes critical. She likes, and I handed her the plot stuff that Chat GPT, and she's like, we hadn't actually run it through something before, so she looked at it. It's like those are some really, really interesting suggestions that it made. So
Just watch out for the hallucination.
yes, yeah. Now I had read through it and I said, makes sense to me. Matter of fact, a lot of them are things we've been suggesting for 10 or 15 years. So.
So what you handed her, is she going to take that then as the CC's info?
No, that I told her that's the first, I gave it to her as this is, we found this really interesting, y'all should look through it too, but we need to boil it down to something more concrete.
I can't remember if she gave us a deadline for that.
She did not.
Do we have a deadline now?
I think if we put something together for August, we can get it to whatever, the sooner we get them to it, them the better.
Yeah, I don't know what the calendar is.
She also said she thought it'd be not a bad idea if we actually met with their consultant.
Oh, absolutely.
So, so I told her she would have to figure out how to arrange that.
I think it'd be great.
Yeah.
That's a good question. So this is commercial property.
This is the entire town of Madison.
Oh, I thought it was just
No,
commercial property.
the middle housing,
Housing.
the middle housing is just commercial
That's right.
property, but the update is all of the regulations for all of the town of Madison. So, so it's a huge opportunity for us to get in things like lighting requirements, fragmentation,
Because I was just wondering, is the middle housing going to actually now kind of seep into the whole academy school thing? There's I don't know how much commercial property is on.
Yeah, I do not know that. I hadn't thought about middle.
I'm just thinking that's a very big possibility since that's been up for debate for so long.
All right, now we get to our summer intern who is here. Caroline unfortunately is out of state. We do have another participant. Who's online? We're going to. Oh. Look on these. Oh, hello, Robert. Sorry. But welcome, and I'm glad to know that somebody's listening. Hi, Jane. I just realized I stapled the wrong things together. I hate that when that happens. Actually, no, I said boring things together. Right. You want to just pass the file down, we can say, yeah, keep us down, yeah. Yes, please.
No, wait, there's two separate things. Oh, like there's the one that's stapled together and then there's the. I'll watch it, I'll just do that.
I figured it out. I think we should do that, right?
It's perfectly.
Okay. Well, get the single page two out. Okay, so. Gonna talk about it?
Well, my work for the my internship has mostly has been on like light pollution and its effects on both human and wildlife. And these are shorter things that I've written up about the impacts on the different types of impacts of it. The one that's stapled is about senescence and like sleep wake schedules for humans and trees and how light pollution negatively impacts both of those. And then the non-stapled one is about migration and navigation with dark skies. And how light pollution is really damaging to species' ability to migrate. Because birds, butterflies, a lot of species use the night sky to be able to navigate from to like their breeding grounds.
Yeah, so what we have, Jane doing is for work, and we have 5 topics under the idea of or 5 impacts under light pollution. She's writing us 200-300 word things that we can use as, on the websites.
If you know when.
Yeah.
That's when we do that.
The footnotes on this are just so it'd be easier to tell the sources on like physical paper because they're hyperlinked.
Yeah.
So
If people want to go, so that would be something we put in today. So. Now that they've been handed out, if anybody would like to read through them and send feedback. I think everybody who's got feedback would change.
Great.
Also, as I said, Caroline is out of town tonight, but she will be back on Thursday night, and on Friday morning, she and I are going to be going to the surf club to put the fencing or put the roping around the sand dunes and start that educational and protection project. So if anybody's not doing anything around 9:30 on Friday morning and wants to come and help bank stakes in, we'll be there. And she's created the follow up the 4.5 or 4x11 version of the thing, so it can be sent directly out of the States. Hopefully I'll be able to give it to Boston on Friday and he can laminate a few for us. Sweet. Okay, so that's the interns. Update on the Joint Commission meetings. You said you all are talking about it.
And I think we're calling it the Congress.
Oh,
It's a land use agencies.
Okay.
And, I guess, our first select woman has decided it can't be done over the summer. We just can't get everybody together. So, I think her intention is to set something up in early fall and invite all the land use agencies. I'm not sure we're gonna call it the Congress, but that's the idea, get everybody together as equals.
Right,
Yeah. So I guess it's in the works.
okay. Now, I will just follow up with, when she says land use agencies, I would strongly recommend, and if that would just be, like that would just be the ones that fall in the land use office. I would highly recommend inviting all of the beach and rec committees or commissions as well.
Well, I suspect you may become part of the planning.
Okay. I guess I could send her a little email that says, Yeah, I have ideas.
Don't hold it between the 9th and the 16th of September, because I'll be in Wisconsin at a family reunion.
Okay.
It's just,
Avoid September 9 to 16. Okay.
hey, thank you.
Okay.
I suppose.
Fortunately, I won't be able to make that because I'll be.
You'll be back in school, yes. Yeah, no, we accept that you were a summer intern. We acknowledge that. Okay. So then the last under old business was does anybody have anything from the June meeting? We all said we would take a stab at putting together fact sheets. And I did see the list in the thing. I said, oh, my name wasn't on the list. Which I think this meant that I was going to get to do it the other time, but I did actually start taking a stab at the 4 seasons of protecting the environment. So, but my original version from 20-something years ago was the 4 seasons of water quality, but I'm gonna looking at it from a more general conservation. But still hits all the same things, avoid fertilizer in the spring and avoid watering in the summer and avoid, keep your leaves on site rather than letting somebody suck them up and put them in somebody else's land. But yeah, so there's gonna be, I don't know if it'll be 4 half-page things or 4 one-page things, but that's what I'm working on. No.
I admittedly have nothing. I think I signed up to do composting and then I realized it exists.
Mhm.
Yeah, so the good news is we have 2 really good pages that detail what's recyclable, what's compostable, what the process is, where to do it.
Mhm.
In terms of ultimately aggregating all this information, we have it, but that does mean yeah.
You don't have to write something new. That's all you had to do was find out that we've already got the stuff.
Yeah, there's probably more to be.
Mhm.
I
When you say we have that, is it on the
It was on the
Madison website?
yes. There's some of it even on, some of it's even on the conservation
Is it?
page, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I have PDFs. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else get a chance to take a crack at anything?
Put together that sheet.
Yeah.
For the Star Reading
Yes.
Festival on Renetta,
Was it there?
alternatives to that.
Yeah.
I would like to make it more professional looking.
Caroline, you may work with Caroline. She said she'd be happy to.
Yeah.
You can either give her the stuff and tell her what you want to do with it in Canva. Or meet with her and sit over her while she does it. It would probably be easier than her trying to teach you how to actually use the.
Yeah. So that's rodenticides, but it doesn't include the pesticides or herbicides. Angle, but I can get Caroline's phone number from you at some point.
Yep.
And then Richard was the one.
Lawn care.
Yeah.
And he took some stuff. Okay. Life hack. I somehow managed to pull the letter out of my head.
Which was excellent.
And nobody got a chance to go to the meeting because it was it was live, all not vibrant, yes.
I was waiting for a long time for that hybrid, never happened. And then she wrote back, she was very kind about it.
So you met with the BIPAC people? No,
I haven't.
no, okay,
Corresponded, but
okay.
but Terry did the walk, which I think is
Right.
such a key point, if anyone on the board has actually done the same, I think it'd be a different conversation. So did Jess by any chance mention how the Right, I mean, she was obviously very receptive to
Mm.
the conservation commission's concern, but,
We read the
know,
letter
like-
out. We read the letter out at the meeting.
okay,
So, even though we weren't there, that was great.
yeah, yeah. Does anyone know the status of the?
Maybe they have their minutes.
I don't know where that goes next, but in walking with Jen, there were a lot of specifics that questions that I had, and she didn't have the answers to them. She said, maybe Rob would have, I don't know if she was talking about Rob Russo or somebody else.
I think she was talking about Robinson.
And so, as I let you guys know, Al Goldberg suggested that the tree committee meet with Rob Russo to discuss that particular project, and I think the Conservation Commission, we should do the same.
Yeah.
You know, that's the other place we're gonna get questions answered. Specific questions.
So,
And I still, it's not ideal at all. But I don't know what kind of process was followed to explore the option of a greenway trail between the neck further elementary school and park. Straight shot, yeah, gotta go through trees, do, gotta go over the neck river, we do, but it's the same thing on Green Hill. Thing is, people have this image, if you put in a sidewalk, it's gonna make that road safer. It's not. They will for the handful of people that live within a half mile of the schools, but only if they're walking to and from the schools. And the cyclists still taking their lives in their hands. That road was built in what, the 1700s, 1600s, it's narrow, it's can't really be widened. Point is to connect the schools if the town can seriously, with the state's help, explore that. Because I don't think we're gonna get what people are hoping they'll get if they just build a sidewalk. Just don't think it's gonna provide a level of safety on that road. And it will only really give one additional method of transportation for pedestrians up in certain mileages. Doesn't really benefit anyone else, but the cost to benefit.
But I just, their minutes are there and it says right in them that they did approve the plan.
Oh, they did approve it.
Yes,
Yeah, they wrote
and
it.
that they, says that they read.
Yeah, yeah, but I don't know where it goes then from there. You know what?
There are a number of process steps, but,
Yeah.
yeah.
You're gonna move into the thing that's starting in the fall. I'm sorry, I have a lot, the CIP, that's the
CIP.
CIP,
Um,
not counselors and trainers. I don't know why.
I don't know that it will. I think
Okay.
there's more process steps involved. And, I don't know that this is the right forum to have the policy debate. It's probably to take place at the selectmen's meeting, and I can't disagree with anything Terry said. Other than this is more than just a school to school connection. We have been besieged, we the selectmen have been besieged by folks living in that neighborhood who want sidewalks to get from point A to point B, not necessarily the schools, although that is part of it, absolutely. For children to be able to get to school. So part of the pedestrian traffic is school to school. And Terry's notion of that connecting boardwalk makes sense for that, but we're hearing from the community that there are other pedestrian traffic that needs a sidewalk, not just the school to school traffic. Let me say again, I don't think this is the proper place to have the policy debate. I think Terry is raising very valid questions. And I think this commission at some point, they may want to weigh in on it. But it's sidewalks are a bigger issue than just school children getting from one school to the other. So let me stop there. All of this material is on the website, the actual proposed sidewalk in a great deal of engineering detail. So you can certainly study and form your own opinion and participate in what could be a community-wide discussion about whether or not this is an appropriate use of funds and an appropriate, there are other costs involved, including trees. Yeah, so,
Say, I, as somebody who grew up with a side, on a corner of a street like that where we had to shovel both the sidewalks, is there some sort of tax abatement program for people when you then put a public sidewalk on their property that they then have to maintain for you?
maybe somewhere in New England, probably not.
In New York City, no tax abatement. You just were responsible for it.
But that's okay, you already had it there. If their town is adding it to your property, whether you want them to or not. Neighbor's car. Yeah. Anyway, that is another one of the policy issues that comes up. Okay, so we'll avoid policy. It's 8:30. I distributed it, and the last thing I had on the agenda was I distributed an article, because it came across my feed and I thought it was vaguely interesting and everybody really jumped on it. So,
Excellent.
the title of the article, Al, and I will forward it to you, was "Cities Can't Afford to Keep Treating Trees Like Decoration." Yeah,
It's great.
It's infrastructure,
Please do forward.
yes.
Yeah.
science behind.
Yeah, it was the science behind everything that trees actually do when you put them into an urban or downtown area.
How important it is, critical
Yes,
to maintain the mature trees.
yes, and that's the other thing is the mature trees as opposed to, oh, you could just cut down one and put in five.
And then I went,
Um,
or
Yes.
land reclamation.
Yes, I have two, all sorts of readings, so I will forward that to, but, so it was made that we should probably take the article, distill it down, apply it directly to Madison, make a presentation to Board of Selectmen or whoever, probably in conjunction with the tree advisory committee. So since that suggestion was made to me, via text, I figured we should probably discuss it.
I think we might want to also discuss it with planning and zoning.
Yes.
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 For sure. By the way, the tree advisory committee is required to report to the board of selectmen in September on our progress of being a committee for 1 year.
Okay.
So,
Oh, congratulations on your upcoming anniversary. So, well, gee, if we could have this done by.
I was just thinking, maybe that is an opportunity to have the Conservation Commission present this paper as well. Because it's directly, the whole subject is trees as infrastructure.
Yes.
And I know I've made this offer before, but at any time, this committee needs to speak to the select.
Yeah, okay, we should
Just
just.
let me know.
Yeah, okay,
We just sent that email,
okay,
like we did last time.
Yeah.
That was good.
so, so you're supposed to be on, so. If we set it for the second meeting in September, tentatively, did they just say you had to report in September, or did they just?
Yeah, I think we're looking at the second or.
Yeah, it's the 21st of September.
Okay.
It's,
So let's see.
the selectmen have invited the
Ah,
committee because they've been in session for about a year. And we wanted to understand what we're learning and where we're going and the work products. Okay. It's natural and
Where we hope.
Wait,
this commission needs to.
right, so I will know, let's say I'll know by August if it's going to be possible for us to massage this into a presentation by the end of September.
I think it would be ideal timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the action items coming.
Yes, yes,
We
it
have,
is.
we do have 3 members who are not here tonight.
Yeah.
Or able.
Yeah. So that's what I had on the agenda for tonight.
I just have one question about the easement. Is there a minimum property, like a minimum property size you need to?
It varies all over town, and I'd hate to give you a generalized answer. Much of the town is 1 acre zoning. Good part of the town is 2 acre zoning. But then we have all of the grandfathered parcels which go back 300 years, which are all different shapes and sizes. So it's hard to give you a simple answer.
So say if it were, I can tell you if it's for the forest, if it's for the conservation easement for the forest, from the forestry to get the tax abatement, it's a minimum of 5 acres. And it's usually they should want to fit. Farming, I think, is also a minimum of acres. The other ones are quite variable.
There's a swamp in our backyard, it's part of our property that we have it, but we don't really use it other than for like trails walking through, but at least it's not being developed even though
Right.
it's a swamp.
Okay, so I think we've covered everything, so I take everybody's favorite motion from someone.
Motion to adjourn.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, Amy's motion, Carrie seconded, all in favor. Thank you all for attending, our whoever was on, Robert,